6, a helping hand with your land.
Neil from Essex here to walk you through Kubota's zero-turn product line. As a salesman for a number of different lines of equipment, there is nothing quite as difficult to sell and to shop for as a zero-turn mower. The number of models that are offered by all of these companies is absolutely mind-boggling. I'm going to try to simplify that for you here a little bit today and walk you through Kubota's product line, starting at the little Z200 and going up to the really big Z1500 mower. Starting here at the low end of the range is the Z200 Series Mowers. If you have an older Kubota zero-turn, these are going to share a lot in common with the older Z100 series. The 200s have just had some updates applied to them as the product line has matured over the years. This is generally a series that we're going to sell to somebody with under about 2 acres of grass. And you're going to notice this as we go up through this product range. As we get to bigger machinery, generally we're talking about people with more grass to mow that require a little bit more longevity and are going to have more wear and tear on a piece of equipment. As I go through each one of these models, you're going to notice that within a given size chassis, they use a given frame in order to make a lot of different options for models. So within this Z200 series chassis, you're going to have options for machines with Briggs & Stratton or Kohler engines, so you have some engine selection, and mower deck sizes from 42 up to 54-inch decks, all built on essentially what is exactly the same chassis. So in a lot of ways, when you walk into our dealerships, we generally don't have all 7 or 8 of the varieties of each one of these chassis sitting out here in the parking lot. We'll have a representative size machine that you can pretty well understand what all of the other ones may look at from looking at just one machine. Handful of things that we like about this particular series. Fabricated mower decks, they really do a nice job of that. It's a heavy deck for a residential minded mower. This last generation here has an upgraded seat. Seats on zero-turn mowers, you cannot spend enough money on a seat. You're effectively sitting on top of an axle. So every dollar that's spent here for your comfort goes a long way towards making that machine nice to run. They also do a nice job with the operator's platform. You have some convenient controls for your mower deck height, for your park locks. It's an easy machine to sit on and run, and comes at a, say, premium residential price point. This is not a box store quality mower. This is a little bit better piece of equipment that Kubota would be known for. So take a step up into now the 400 series. The 400s actually are a lot more simple product line than what the 200s is, and that's because in this machine there's only Kawasaki engines offered. This is more of a, call it a prosumer line of zero turns, and we're getting to those guys that are kind of in the 2 to 4 acres of grass or so. Maybe somebody doing some entry-level commercial mowing work. You might be towing one of these from yard to yard if you're just starting to get into business. Generally not your high-end professional landscaper yet, but you could do some of that kind of stuff with this mower. A lot of things that we're going to like in this are going to be that you're kind of coming up into a better series transmission now. When you get to a bigger machine like this with a bigger frame, bigger seat, bigger wheels, bigger engine, you're going to have a bigger transmission that comes along with it, and that's going to give you a little bit better ground speed and a little bit better longevity out of that transmission. We talked about seats before when we were in the 200 series. You can see here up in the 400, we're getting a much more plush seat. So a lot thicker padding and stuff in the bottom, bigger machine with bigger wheels. As we get up, they're gonna ride better. And speed is often talked about with zero-turn mowers. Speed's no good if you can't do it comfortably. So you wanna kind of balance that high speed versus the money that you're investing into the seat and the wheels and the platform. Kubota does a good job of that in the 400 series. At the high end of Kubota's gas-powered line is the Z700 series that I'm sitting on here. This is gonna upgrade you to the largest transmission options that you're really gonna find in this kind of mower. Solid front tires if you're a landscaper jumping curbs, a short wheelbase that you can pack 2 of these onto a 14-foot trailer. This is the machine that's kind of geared for that commercial landscaper who's running crews and out trying to make money with zero-turn mowers. You're gonna find a lot of good technology in this, options for Kawasaki and EFI engines, high-end features that are not found on the less expensive machines where you're really starting to be concerned about your operational costs and that kind of stuff for a mower. Kubota does a nice job with this. They're nice, easy machines to run, comfortable sticks, a lot of adjustability in them to be able to tune them for your personal preferences and your crew. This is kind of the end though. This is a very similar mower to what you'll find on the rest of the industry. As we move up into the next step in Kubota's product line, this is where things start to get interesting. The ZD10 platform is where this series starts to get unique. There are over 30 companies in the market that make zero-turn mowers. And you can see why. When you go from one mower to the next here, there's only so many components here that are actually built by the company themselves. You're gonna find a lot of commonality in engine vendors, transmission components, a lot of things sourced from suppliers that makes zero-turn mowers a fairly easy product line for companies to start manufacturing. And so there's a lot of options out here. When we get to this size though, we're getting to a mower now that Kubota starts to do some things differently. So there's some engineering and stuff underneath the seat on this machine that starts to set this one apart from a lot of the other competitors that are out there on the market. That comes in two different ways. So the ZD10 is going to be a diesel powered mower. Any of the ZD series here, that D stands for diesel, are going to come with Kubota diesel engines, and generally you're going to find the price competitiveness of the ZD series is phenomenal. Because Kubota is pulling one of their own engines off the shelf to drop into these machines, the diesel models are priced really, really well compared to most of the rest of the industry that's going to go out to Yanmar or back to Kubota or somebody else in order to get that diesel engine. So the price competitiveness of these machines can be really good when you're looking at a diesel engine. I'm a big proponent of diesels. I like the way they run. I prefer the torque and the fuel economy over a lot of other gas-powered machines. The downside though is going to be weight. They tend to be heavy, and you can feel that when you're driving and you're trying to make snappy turns with a machine, and they are a little bit more expensive than their gas counterparts. So there's some pros and cons there. Underneath the seat of this machine, you're going to find a Kubota manufactured transmission. So while most other zero-turn mowers are generally going to Parker or Hydro gear for their transmission, what's down underneath of this is a pretty unique Kubota built transmission. So you have a central gear case in here that has wet clutches, shafts down to the mower deck. The transmission wheel motors and pumps are all bolted together instead of being connected with belts and hoses. So the end result of all of this is a drive line that's a lot more efficient and more reliable with less replacement parts in it than what you're gonna find in some other machines, including Kubota's lower series here. As we work through the 200, 400, and 700, they're all built like most of the rest of the industry, but this is a little bit different. These options are going to be out there and available in the ZD series, and two unique models in Kubota's own product line that are almost forgotten about a lot of times. The ZG 222 and 227 are going to be this exact same chassis here, but with gas engines. For us, those models aren't particularly popular. We have most guys wanting diesels, and so they opt up into that diesel model. But if you just don't want to deal with diesel fuel and you like this platform and transmission technology, those models are out there on the market. You're going to find them being more expensive than what, say, a 400 or 700 series machine might be, but if you're going to get the longevity out of that drive line, in my opinion, it's worth the money. When we move up to this 1000 and 1200 series chassis, a lot of other things kind of get larger as well. So we're going to move up to these oscillating front axles as opposed to a fixed frame machine. The oscillating axles have this cover on the front that you can flip up that gives you some adjustment options here on how you want your front axle to work. So you can allow it to oscillate independently of the frame, which helps the mower ride a little bit better. If you're going over a lot of bumps and you want to try to say go fast and skip over top of them, you can pull these pins out and lock the axle in place to make it a fixed frame machine. And you can also rotate that axle nearly 90 degrees in order to flip the front of the machine up for service. So a lot of cool functionality here hidden under that black front cover on the front of the machine. As machines get heavier too, they also require heavier mower decks. Assuming that you're now taking the added weight of this machine and may catch a root or something, you're gonna notice a lot heavier gauge steel and wear edges and stuff along the underside of the mower decks that kind of reflect the greater build quality of the rest of the machine. So for all the models that we've talked through here at this point, the ZD 1200 series is actually where a bulk of our sales are through all of these products. Kind of our core customer base around here is a lot of ag and construction customers, a lot of high-end guys at big acreage that tend to gravitate towards this mower, and that's for a handful of reasons. You're going to get the longevity of the diesel engine and the Kubota transmission out of this that gives you a powertrain that you can just count on for a really, really long time. It's a different kind of customer than, say, a commercial landscaper. Your landscape guys tend to flip machines fairly often, really trying to keep them under warranty so they know what their fixed costs are going to be as they're bidding out jobs and that kind of thing. They don't tend to hold on to mowers for 10 and 15 years, and a lot of guys that buy this kind of mower do that. You really kind of need to take that kind of perspective to it because you want to get the value out of that diesel engine and its fuel economy and the high hours that it's able to hit compared to a lot of those other gas engines. As we get to this size machine too, we talked before about being able to mow fast and mow comfortably. You're getting a really good sized tire, a very deluxe seat, really comfortable machine to operate. Because we have that hydraulic system in this with those wet clutches and stuff to turn the mower deck on and off, you also get things like hydraulic lift from your feet. You can tap those pedals down there while you're mowing to pop the deck up and over roots and those kinds of things. Convenient controls back here on your side for your mower decks. And thoughtful things that Kubota's done with flip-up service panels and that kind of stuff to make the machine easy to maintain so that it maintains as much value as possible over the long haul. At the very top end of Kubota's product range for zero-turn mowers is the ZD1511. It's this machine right here. This is going to have a larger frame and a larger back end than the ZD1200 series does right below it. Shares a lot of the same technology, same transmission in it, a lot of the same engine tech. But once we cross over 26 diesel horsepower, additional engines and emissions equipment is required in order to meet modern emissions regulations. And so the back end of this machine needs to get bigger in order to accommodate that. The extra thing that's in here as well is a turbocharger, which is really cool. You cannot underestimate the impact that all the torque of a diesel engine with a turbo on it can give you when you're trying to haul through thick, heavy grass. You think of the application for a diesel engine in a mower like this, when your grass starts to get long and you want that engine to lug and power through, diesel can do a lot for you. I would say I think is fairly underappreciated among different people out there who run zero-turn mowers. So this gives you that high horsepower diesel engine in order to be able to power through that kind of stuff. The other thing that's on this machine that you're not going to find on the 1200 series is a legit air ride seat. You have a switch up on the front to change the amount of pressure in the air bladder that's underneath the seat to make this machine ride really well. Between that air ride and all the weight from the engine and the big tires, this thing takes bumps really, really well. So hopefully that explanation helps narrow you down from maybe potentially 35 different models here, down to at least the right series for the product that might be right depending on the acreage and application that you have for a zero-turn mower. If any questions about any of these, you're looking to pick up a mower here for the springtime, or if you have parts and service needs for a machine you've already got, give us a call at Messick's. We're available at 800-222-3373 or online at messick's.com.